Hello everyone and welcome to Medford Anywhere Learning TV. We're glad you're tuned in. We want to give a shout out to our friends at Southern Oregon PBS, KTVL, KDRV, and the Dove Network. Thank you for hosting us on your station. In the Medford School District, we have one shared vision, and that we believe that all are learning, and learning is for all. And what better place to do that than right here on Medford Anywhere Learning TV.
Hi, I'm Catherine Zern with the Children's Advocacy Center in Medford, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a child and family therapist there. And I'm here to answer some questions from some very uh, involved and caring parents.
Hi, my name is Larry, and I'm a father of a beautiful 5-year-old rambunctious, energetic kid who is in kindergarten, boy, at Jackson Elementary in the Spanish immersion program. And I want to thank Dr. Chapman for trying to put together this anywhere learning activities with what's going on right now with the new normal. And I appreciate all the staff and the teachers who are adjusting to this new normal, including the parents and kids. And I'd like to thank the social worker, licensed clinical social worker who's with me tonight to answer some of the questions I have as a parent during this time of new normalcy.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So one of the big questions we have, me and my wife, is how do you deal with burnout, parent burnout? You know, with the new normalcy, 5-year-old bouncing off the wall, trying to force them to watch school on TV, trying to force them to get on Zoom, and then all the other activities, trying to go to the shopping, and now one parent goes in, the other parent stays out, or you go to the shopping, and God forbid he has to go in with me, and he's wearing a mask, and trying to explain to him why you have to stay 6 feet apart. It's been very challenging. And at the end of the day, me and my wife are like, huh. And just how do you recommend parents to deal with that? Huh.
Well, first of all, thanks for being a responsible parent about having your child in the car or wearing a mask in the store.
Well, thank you.
And the recognition that with 5-year-olds, you're going to be saying it over and over and over and over again, almost like a song. And you may even think about making up a song for those normal everyday activities. I learn a lot from parents, and one parent recently said to me, she was so exhausted, she simply said, "Okay, you guys are in charge today." So I think that one of the things you can do is in the beginning of the day, have him help you plan what the daily schedule is,
Okay.
and put it up and talk about as things come up, changes in the schedule. Oh, maybe you've had too much screen time. Maybe now it's time to go do some Legos or and to make sure he's having regular physical activity. That I keep emphasizing that because it all feels like we're a little bit like talking heads right now, and children are totally into their bodies, and building in a nap for yourself during the day, managing your expectations for what he's really going to learn. There are things they're going to have to be catching up on. And someone also said to me with her children under 5, I allow them to get bored and not having to manage that all that, because that begins to help them with their own agency.
Right.
And they may be more obnoxious for a little bit. Don't give it a lot of attention. And they might come up with some solutions.
Well, what I've been trying to do a little bit, which he's good at, is he likes his own me time. He even calls it that, me time. Like, you've been watching too many YouTube videos if you know the word me time as a 5-year-old. So he goes into his room and he takes his little tablet and he plays his little games that he has downloaded in the bedroom by himself. You know, and then I check on him every so often.
Right.
And he checks on me every so often to make sure I didn't do anything stupid either.
Right.
And that's one of the other things we've been trying to do with him,
Right.
to help him deal with some of his anxiety.
Right. And help him. You can make sure that he's sort of changing activities every hour maybe, or every couple of hours, and also building in quiet time. building in calm time. Another thing that I suggest is I'd use the village. If he has grandparents, if you have friends, have them call up and do story time with him. So let him have a change of pace from
Hmm.
you,
Right.
and maybe take a nap at that time.
Yeah, I mean, we've been lucky. We have a tutor who comes in a couple hours a week because of the
Mhm.
Spanish immersion, and
Mhm.
I don't speak Spanish. My wife doesn't speak Spanish, so
Mhm.
that gives me an opportunity to at least clean up around the house during that time,
Yes.
a
Mhm.
couple hours a week to
Mhm.
break up the monotony.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next question I have is, how do you talk to your kids about the virus? In my case, it was pretty intense early on during the virus. It appears I came down with it, and I had to
Okay.
self quarantine for 18 days in the basement in a
Oh
guest
my.
bedroom, and it was very challenging. And at one point towards the end, my son actually complained to his mom that he was starting to have nightmares that I was dead
Right.
or I was dying.
Mm.
And then it hit me hard, to be honest.
Mhm.
It actually hit me harder than all the stuff I went through for over 2 weeks,
Mhm.
hearing that from him.
Mhm.
And then what we've been doing is taking drives. And one drive, we started, I don't know how he knows these things or he hears about them, but he knew about bacterial infections, viral infections, the coronavirus, and started asking us questions. What's the difference between these different bugs? And it was really enlightening because me and my wife both being nurses, it didn't like freak us out, but it
Mhm.
was just different.
Mhm.
You don't normally in a new normal. It's not the conversation you normally have with a 5-year-old,
Right.
a bacterial infection and
Mhm.
antibiotics versus a virus when there is no medicine.
Right.
So it
Right.
was different.
Right. There are lots of resources out there. I know Sesame Street there's a Sesame Street COVID special.
Right.
There's also a little book called The Pearl and the Butterfly uh, by an author named Anna Gomez.
Okay.
That and what
Pearl and
it
butterfly.
speaks to is not so much the informational piece, but the emotional piece. And like, what kind of feelings am I having about this? And how does something like this turn into a good thing? Hence the pearl.
Uh-huh.
And then some emotional regulation strategies.
Okay.
So and I wouldn't give any more information than he asks for. So and then you can add in the pieces about feelings and emotional regulation and calm time again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, one of the challenges is like on all the video games he plays or the YouTube videos, they're incorporating the virus as the bad guy. So in some of the videos, they're portrayed as a zombie or they're portrayed as a werewolf or other ugly, deadly things,
Mhm.
and that their job is to go kill the virus.
Mm.
And so he sees these things, and we try to minimize that if we can. But it's out there,
Right.
and it's challenging.
Right. So then the emphasis then becomes on what is his power to do? What are his superpowers that he can use and to make the world safer and better?
Thank you. My wife's a nurse. I'm a retired nurse, and she works at a senior assisted living. And obviously, during this time, it's very trying. And what's challenging at times is we'll be home, and my wife will get a phone call about now they're on a new dark orange level or whatever, where they might have a case with the staff or a resident or whatever. And obviously, she has to drop things and take phone calls or go into work. And so her schedule is becoming more irregular. And he gets frustrated because he's not used to this, because he's used to being around me all the time because I'm
Mhm.
retired,
Mhm.
but he's not used to mom. His time with mom is very special to him.
Mhm.
But obviously, you can't be special when mom is on the phone with Portland or Chicago trying to say,
Mhm.
what do we do? How do
Mhm.
we strategize?
Mhm.
And it's been challenging for him to adjust to that new reality, and for her too, to be honest.
Mhm.
What would be some strategies to deal with that?
So, how much warning time does she get?
Ring, ring.
Ring, ring, and then she's out the door.
Not necessarily. Most of the, probably 9 out of 10 times she can handle it from home.
Uh-huh.
But she has to be on phone calls for a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, or multiple phone calls,
Uh-huh.
or multiple follow-up phone calls.
Uh-huh.
I know other parents I've talked to, they also have similar issues where parents are essential workers, and it's all changing right now.
Right.
And no one's has a, again, I go back to the new normalcy. No one has a normal schedule. No one has a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
Parent, child, teacher, it doesn't matter what you're doing, your life has been kind of flipped upside down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So one of my thoughts is she's sort of a superhero, isn't she? And maybe he is her assistant, and so one of the ways he assists is by figuring out how he can help while she's gone, and that he is a helper by letting her go do her superpower thing. And also they can talk about what they're going to do when she gets back. So if you can give him any kind of transition, and maybe he even draws a picture of what he wants to do when she gets home.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to do some of that stuff. Like she now tries to spend a little bit more time. I mean, because everyone's schedule's ended. She tries to stay as much time as she can in the evening with him. Now his bedtime's been blown, but he's now, she spends more time in the evening. They do activities like right now they're playing soccer in our front yard, or she'll pillow fight with him or do things that he finds humorous and try to make up that time. But it is challenging for all of us.
Right. And then I think, at bedtime, if that's at all a scary time for him, the story time, and then building maybe his dream castle or something.
Well, what we've been doing is reading to him at bedtime, and then we lay down with him until he falls asleep. Then we go to our beds. And then when he wakes up, before he wakes up, I go in and lay down in the bed again with him. So when he wakes up, he's not scared, because he has had, like I said, he had nightmares of me dying, and now when I'm not there, he gets a little spooked.
He gets anxious.
Yeah.
And so another thing is that's where it is really important to begin to teach them those affect regulation management skills, as of breathing, of safe place, and of even progressive relaxation at nighttime, where he might practice tensing and releasing. And so introducing those at the time, having him practice various times during the day, so that when he needs them, you can suggest them and he will do them.
Thank you. Thank you for the strategies. And again, these kind of into the next question about how do you set up a new normal in an unnormal time?
Well, Larry, I think one thing I would encourage you to do is get bedtime and wake up time regular. So, and maybe what you can begin to do is push it back little by little, and so maybe some kind of compromise between what he's usually doing during school time and what he would be doing, naturally, because that kind of sets the.
Well, we've been trying that. I mean, we put him down at 9. He don't go to sleep till 11.
Okay.
12. I mean, we get him in the bed. I mean, we have a routine. We brush our teeth. We do the usual routine: kiss mommy, good daddy, good night, blah blah blah. Read a book, lay down. But he won't fall asleep until then. We get him in bed at 9, but then he won't fall asleep. Or what some of the strategies, which is 5-year-olds are smart. Seriously, now I'm hungry. Now I'm thirsty. Now I need to go get this teddy bear. No, I have to have that teddy bear. And so we get him in bed at the regular time. It's just he won't sleep. He just won't fall asleep.
So it sounds like it's perhaps that he's having difficulties separating at bedtime.
Mhm.
And do you think that's maybe related to dad being in the basement for
Mhm. 'Cause he was
18?
doing pretty good until then.
Okay.
Then it dropped off the cliff.
So what you're looking at really is anxiety.
Mhm.
So I think um, beginning to work on those, the anxiety strategies to help him calm down. So that may have to start way earlier in the evening. And sometimes it's okay to just say you have permission to get up and get me, one time tonight, or
Mhm.
get like working with the difficulties he's having, but setting some boundaries around it,
Mhm.
and recognizing it as anxiety um, and trying those sleep strategies. So it's really not a rhythm issue; it's an anxiety issue.
Well, traditionally, though, it's always been like that. Even beforehand, he's
Yeah.
always been a late to bed, late riser
Mhm.
before school.
Right, that's his natural
That's his
rhythm.
natural rhythm,
Mhm.
and we were able to kinda change it a little bit because of school and because it got dark earlier. And, so it's hard for him to understand that, "Why are you now trying to make me get ready for bed when it's still not dark out?"
Mhm.
So I think that's part of it too. I think it's the anxiety, definitely, and going against his natural rhythm since he was a baby.
Right. And so and another thing you can perhaps talk with him about, again, with helping him set the schedule, what the routine is during the day, and then talk about his job. And his job right now is to be a kindergartner. And as long as he's a kindergartner, these are the job rules that he
Uh-huh.
has to follow.
I'd like to thank you for your time. And I'd like to again thank the Medford School District and the all the wonderful staff who are trying to do the best during this time of new normalcy, and the fact that it's going to be a while before we get back to any other type of normalcy. And I'd like to thank everyone and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your questions, Larry,
Well, thank you.
and good luck to you and your family.
All right, thank you.
If you can be thinking in terms of, again, regulating, connecting, and instilling hope, um, and doing a little bit of that every day. And so for regulating, um, you can learn breathing. It doesn't have to be 15-minute meditations. It can be small breath practices. Um, with kids, a lot I like to use bubble breath, where I imagine breathing in and then imagine blowing the biggest bubble I can, so that the out breath is a little bit longer than the in breath. Or you can do 6 counts in, 6 counts out. There are breathing apps. There's an app called Breathe, where you can really set the length of time you're breathing. And sometimes I need something to breathe with when I'm dysregulated. There's also Calm and Headspace. There's a lot of different apps you can use to help guide your quiet time. And another thing is grounding and centering, and that's as simple as moving the toes in your shoes or pressing your heels into the floor. There is a strategy called 5-4-3-2-1 that we teach every child that comes through our offices. And you can even do it with your child. You name 5 things you see, 5 things you hear, 5 sensations that you feel, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. And then as for connecting, I think finding ways for yourself to connect with people who affirm you and who can listen compassionately to you. And also, it's the little things, the day to day. When I go to the grocery store and I'm wearing my mask, I make intention to smile at people with my eyes. And in making that connection with people, I get the real oxytocin and the serotonin. uplift. And so we need those opportunities to genuinely connect with people. If you have a faith group and you can be checking in with, someone from your faith group twice a week. And then instilling hope, having self-compassion, recognizing, again, what are you learning now? And what will you be taking out into the world as you go forward? And what are you looking forward to? And I think one of the things that this has helped us with is with the recognition that connection is important. And perhaps this will all change us all for the better. As a therapist at the Children's Advocacy Center, one of our emphasis is on safety, because safety is fundamental to anything else and to learning. Obviously, online safety is an issue right now, with children spending hours and hours of screen time. So one of the biggest factors in safety is parents having ongoing conversations with their children, in addition to being aware and observing. Conversations can be about, has anybody online asked you to keep anything a secret? Or has anybody brought up sexual issues with you while they're online with you? And it's also really important to talk about what your values are as a family, about privacy, what's public, and keep the conversation going. I was recently listening to a training where they said that actually there are better outcomes with when you don't rely on devices to manage everything your child is doing online, but that you're having regular conversations with them. And there are some websites that you can look at, including what's called the ICAC taskforce.org and the Cyber Tip Line. There's a website called NetSmarts, and that's NetSmartz.org. And also commonsensemedia.org. Recently on a PBS show, they provided some ideas for resources for first responders. And two of those resources are Project Parachute and Emotional PPE. And you can go to either one of those websites, and they have pro bono therapists that are willing to help you through this. I want to thank the parents who've been very generous with their time and the conflicts that they're experiencing. And I want to thank you for joining us here on Medford Anywhere Learning TV.
Thanks for tuning in to Medford Anywhere Learning TV. Medford School District is a place where all are learning, and learning is for all.
One of my best days as a parent.
One of my best days as a parent. One of my best days as a parent.
One of the best days is when my kids came home and say, "Mom, I love school."
She immediately comes home and she starts talking to me about, we get to go to lunch like every day. So I was like, you do that at home, but for her it was amazing.
When my son was in kindergarten and he came home from school early in the year with Bob books, and he sat down in my lap at night before bed and read for the first time to me, and I got teary-eyed. I'll never forget it.
One of my best days as a parent is when my son came home from school and said he wanted to run to be the class president for this school.
And my daughter brought home this piece of artwork that says, "Friends help each other when they're scared." It's a friend telling her other friend, "It's okay, be brave."
One of my best days as a parent was the day that my son came home and said that he was chosen for a Student Leader Award. It was a really good feeling, actually, you know. like a one-of-a-kind feeling, for sure.
Uno de los grandes momentos también de este programa.
One of the biggest moments when I came home was that I came home and I told her that through Bulldog Straighters I had spoken to the governor of Oregon, and she was really proud of me because at a young age I had this really big opportunity, and it was just so motivating to me, like it was to her as well.
Favorite thing was to hear another friend of mine that's a teacher. She asked him, so how do you like middle school? Do you like it? And he said, I love it. And I was like, what? Yes. You know, to love something, you know, school, then that makes it more fun to go to, and he'll put more energy into it.
I got phone calls from the school and emails from different newspaper people saying that my son had created something. Yeah, basically just said I created a little piece off this machine that creates, you know, 3D imaging things. He used other words, but I'm a mom and I just was just so excited that I was like, I don't know what words you're using, but cool, I'm so proud of you.
My daughter, Tiana Crick, she's going into her senior year at South Medford High School, and she was born with Down syndrome. And so one of my best days as a parent with Tiana is when she came home after her first game with the unified team. She played soccer in the fall, and she came home just really excited. She felt like she really was playing for South Medford High School, and that made her really happy and really proud.
One of my best days as a parent is when my son won state and was able to travel to Kentucky to participate in Skills USA Nationals 2017 in mobile electronic robotics. You know, I get choked up when I think about my kids, both of them, but you know, it's exciting to see that they're excelling, and I know now, and I've got to say that the programs that he's been involved in through CTE are huge and instrumental in his future.
This is the whole soccer team, so we have the JV and the varsity and the JV team.
Yeah, and Stephen participated on, oh, I see him.
Yeah, he's right there.
This is a pretty special poster for us. It's been a really long journey for Stephen, and this proves to me that people really care. Stephen didn't have to come home and tell me, Mom, I made it. This is what people calling me and saying, we want people to know your story, and printing it, and him making the team is all I needed. I didn't need words.
I'm Patrick Royal's dad, and Patrick grew up, when he grew up, I was in the military. So Patrick was in 10 schools before he enrolled here at South Medford. When he came to enroll in classes his senior year, his counselor knew what he wanted and encouraged him to enroll in the Champs Leadership Program. He did that, and he was thrilled. That was a game changer for him, really.
And then also Jefferson really reaches out to Alejandro he's waiting for a kidney transplant, and his school is so involved, really feels like we're at home.
My son is the third generation to go to Oak Grove. The teachers are great. They really are. When the teachers have a strong support staff, it's gonna trickle down definitely to the kids.
We're excited to see our children get molded by such great staff, and you know, we can do what we can at school or at home as parents, but when we send them to school with you guys, that you continue molding them into being good citizens and students, and pretty soon he'll be an adult.
Stephen has a place, and now I feel like I can just kind of relax and know that everything's going to be okay.
Believe me, sometimes you cannot say enough words to say thank you, because they put more time than what you think.
Not only the teachers, the counselors, the registrar, the people that get the kids enrolled and get them moving. Obviously, it goes all the way up through the administration to the principal and to the superintendent. Thank you all.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart as a parent that you're raising such wonderful children, because it makes a huge difference in their lives and in our lives. And I hope that you have a successful year, and I hope that you find kindness in every one of your days too.
I want to give a big, big, big thank you to the school staff.
And know that what you do and the positive things you do goes a long way. I really do.
I think it does.